You ever get that feeling that taking care of yourself has somehow become way more complicated than it should be? Between work, life, and trying to stay balanced, it gets a little overwhelming. That's why I've been loving Rula. And I know what you're going to say. I can't afford therapy. That's too expensive. How much does therapy even cost? Must be hundreds of dollars an hour, right? Well, what if I told you that Rula partners with over 100 insurance plans so you could pay as little as $15 per session? That's about the cost of a movie ticket. Here's what I like. Rula doesn't just pair you with any therapist. They take your goals, background, and preferences, then build a curated list of therapists who actually fit what you're working on. They've got more than 15,000 licensed professionals across the country, and most have appointments available as soon as the next day. Plus, Rula checks in over time to make sure the care stays consistent and effective. It's therapy that grows with you. Thousands of people are already using Rula to get affordable, high-quality therapy that's actually covered by insurance. Visit Rula.com/cinephobe to get started. After you sign up, you'll be asked how you heard about them. Please support our show and let them know we sent you. That's RULA.com/cinephobe. You deserve mental health care that works with you, not against your budget.
Carvana's so easy, just a click, and we've got ourselves a car. See?
So many cars. That's a click-tastic inventory.
And check out the financing options. Payments to fit our budget. I mean, that's
Clickonomics 101.
delivery to our door.
Just a hop, skip, and a click away.
And what?
No better feeling than when everything just
Clicks.
Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.
This season of Pack Your Knives is presented by CRVA, Charlotte Regional Visitors Authority. We're partnering with CRVA to release a special 6-part Savor Charlotte series for our listeners to discover the talent, taste, and trailblazers driving Charlotte's culinary momentum. This week, enjoy our interview with Chef Chris Coleman of Built On Hospitality, who you might have already recognized on Beat Bobby Flay, Chopped, Alex vs. America, and Guy's Grocery Games, or at his stable of awesome restaurants in Charlotte, including one of my favorites, and Gail Simmons' favorites, the Goodyear House. Enjoy. Chris Coleman.
How's it going?
Dude, it's great to have you in the studio and finally have you on the pod. We went out to dinner earlier this month, and I've been at Goodyear House a whole bunch of times at one of your restaurants. And it was great to sit down and talk to you because I didn't realize at that dinner, you were showing me some of your favorite things about burgers and whatnot, because we were at a French restaurant, Pastis, with their great burger. Great burger. And what we talk about is Charlotte's, entry into the food scene nationally. Yeah. And you have been on the food TV scene for a while now. Yeah. And so you're kind of like this representative of Charlotte, many representatives of Charlotte, but you've been on Beat Bobby Flay. Yeah. You've been on Alex vs. America, Chopped Champion, Guy's Grocery Games, and you've been kind of a representative of Charlotte on these shows. Yeah. And so why is that important to you to not just be on these shows, national food competition programs, but also just try to get Charlotte out there?
Yeah, well, I mean, Charlotte is my home. I was born and raised here. And I like to tell folks I kind of grew up at the same time as the city did, right? I was born in the early 80s. So I came of age at the same time that Charlotte was coming of age. We got the Hornets when I was 5 years old. Yeah. We got the Panthers when I was 11 or 12. And so people started to know, it was always Charlotte, North Carolina. And it started to become Charlotte, just period Charlotte, 10, 15 years ago. And for me, that's important. I take so much pride in this city, and I love this city. So when I would get invited to do those competition shows, I was always I'm here to rep Charlotte. That's why I'm here is if I can win, fantastic. If I can represent myself, even better. In the businesses, probably best. But representing Charlotte meant just so much to me. Yeah. To do that, yeah.
Yeah, because what was Charlotte food scene like then when you were getting into those national competitions? So what was the first? Chopped was the
first one.
And that was 2019, I want to say?
Yeah, that was 2018 is when we filmed. I think it aired in 2019, yeah. Charlotte at that time really was kind of in its, I don't want to say heyday because I think we're still in it, but a lot of the chef-driven restaurants were really kind of capturing the spotlight. You had Paul Verica, at Heritage and Waxhaw. You had Clark Barlow doing some cool stuff at Heirloom up in Coolwood. You had Jamie Lynch doing cool stuff. Mark Jacksina was still at Halcyon. So you had like, and Greg Collier had opened Yoke and Rock Hill. So you had like a lot of chefs becoming household names in Charlotte.
Yeah.
So that was really, really cool. I think Joe and Katie had already opened Kindred.
I moved here in 2016.
Yeah.
And
but not to cut you off, 10 years prior to that all of that I just said didn't exist. It was like, if you were going to dinner in Charlotte, you went uptown and you went to like Ruth's Chris, or you went to Del Frisco, or you went to Morton's, or you went to Capitol Grill. It was like very much a meat and potatoes steak town. There were a few chefs doing some things, but it hadn't come together in a collaborative way where chefs were propping each other up and representing Charlotte and talking about making Charlotte a great food scene. So what I mean by all that is like early 2010s, I had done Asbury in 2014 and we got some recognition. Luca had done Passionate in Fort Mill. Gene Briggs was still at Blue, I believe. You had some chefs doing some stuff, getting some nods from, Charlotte Magazine, and then some JBF nods. Bruce Moffat at Stagione.
Yep.
And Barrington's was getting recognized. But it hadn't, we were all still like competing, but not competing, because we were just like happy that anyone was walking in our doors and not going to the steakhouse.
Yep.
So it really came together in probably the early 2010s, like 2015, 16, 17, when PCG, the Piedmont Culinary Guild, which I've been a member of since its beginning, I was on the board a couple of times. That's when we all got together as chefs and said, we really want to make Charlotte known as a food scene and do some cool stuff. And so we started collaborating together and sharing farm lists and, how can I help you? How can you help me? And it grew to be this organization that was like 400 members strong of chefs and farmers and food writers and artisans, and really just pushing the message that Charlotte, gets overlooked as a food city. We're finally coming into our own now nationally. The last couple of years, Food and Wine has said, is this Charlotte's year? And I think with Top Chef coming and everything else that's happening with Michelin and stuff, like it's, our time's now. Like we're here, and we have other cities kind of looking to Charlotte for what's cool instead of us looking out.
I know.
So it's very
What was
cool.
your reaction when Top Chef was announced? Like when word
I was
started
excited
coming
for
up?
it. Yeah. It honestly was maybe the worst kept secret in Charlotte, that Top Chef was in town. I think every chef was like, I hear Top Chef is here.
Like 10 years ago, if I had sat you down and been like, Top Chef is going to come to Charlotte as a hub city.
No way. 10 years ago, no way. Like, I just don't think that we were ready, but I don't think that anyone looked at Charlotte as they're ready. And now we are. So it's validation that we are a food scene. It is, it is really just going to show the national audience what we've been saying for 20 years. And that is that Charlotte is a place to be reckoned with. We have like awesome chefs here. We have awesome farms here. We have the coast. We have the mountains. We have the foothills and everything in between. You can get fresh seafood. I can get fresh cattle. We have 400 local farms in and around the Charlotte area.
Nuts. Yeah. When you dropped that stat at the JBF,
it's crazy.
event, I was like, wait, over 400?
400 farms in the counties surrounding Mecklenburg and including Mecklenburg. But, and some of these are small. Some of these are like little, 2.5 acre farms. Some are massive. I mean, Barbie up in Concord is huge. They're one of the pioneer farms in Charlotte. And they're big enough now to where they sell to like Lowe's Foods and Harris Teeter. So, when you see the little plaques of like locally grown in Harris Teeter, a lot of it comes from Barbie Farms in Concord, which they still sell at the Davidson Farmers Market every Saturday. They still deliver to restaurants. So it's, again, we've got something very special in Charlotte. I like to compare it to California and growing seasons. And we're 3 hours from fresh shrimp and fresh fish. We're, an hour and a half, 2 hours away from Appalachian culture.
Yep.
So it's like it really is the best. And that's why I'm so proud of it. It really is like the best little town in America.
It is a city that really punches above its weight. I mean, I think when you remember this as a kid, I was up in Connecticut in the Northeast, and all my buddies would all wear Charlotte Hornets gear because it was just the cool,
the purple
NBA
and teal,
team.
man.
Yeah, the purple and teal with Muggsy and Zoe, Glenn Rice, Grandmama,
Larry Johnson, man, he was my favorite.
Dude, the best.
He was
so
my favorite.
Fun with the gold tooth and the whole aesthetic and the colors. It was like the cool team back then.
Yeah.
So it like splashes onto the sports market, and you got NASCAR here, the headquarters in the Hall of Fame. It's the racing capital of America. Yeah. And then you have the Carolina Panthers come in and they take over with Cam Newton. Yeah. And it wasn't known as a food destination. It felt like almost like a place that you stopped over, had a layover at, and a steakhouse town. But when I moved here in 2016, it felt like it was getting in on the ground floor or something where chefs like yourself and Paul Verica was opening up a restaurant down the street. And I'm like, wait, a James Beard nominated chef is in Charlotte down the street from me. Yeah. And then it starts exploding where at this, it was at the James Beard Foundation platform venue earlier this February, where I'm invited to this dinner with you, Brittany Cochran from Stagione, who's going to be on Top Chef. Yep. And then just like a murderer's row of Charlotte chefs that were all together. And I was taken back by how like the camaraderie amongst you guys. Yeah. It was like you guys were best friends, and it was like you guys really were pulling for each other. You had a speech beforehand, kind of as the leader of the pack, so to speak. And you said something that I've always been wondering, which is, what is Charlotte's signature dish? Yeah. And you said a line that has stuck with me ever since, which was, Charlotte doesn't have a signature dish, we have a signature style. Yeah. And I've always been searching for that, like, holy grail of what is Charlotte's iconic dish that we're going to be known for here in this town. And you have a different spin on that. So me as an eater and as a Top Chef guy, I have always been wondering, like, do you need a signature dish in this town, or are we just thinking about this the wrong way?
Well, so Charlotte is a new city, right? I mean, compared to when you talk about old cities that have signature dishes, you think about shrimp and grits in Charleston, you think about gumbo in New Orleans, you think about, pizza or hot dogs in New York, you think about deep dish in Chicago or wherever. We're a new city. Yeah, we're about 40. We've been around for a long time, with the MECDEC thing. Like, we declared independence before America did. But as a city, we've been around for 40 or 50 years. And we're still a transplant city. I like to tell folks that I was born and raised here, and there was 5 of us that met at First Presbyterian Uptown for coffee every Tuesday to have the Unicorn Club. But I don't think we have a signature dish, and I think it's fine. I think it's fine. I think we have a signature style, and that is that every chef who cares about food in Charlotte, from neighborhood spots up to a Michelin-starred spot at counter, is buying from the same farms, and we are buying from the same people who grow the same food. We're just treating it differently. Whether it's a simple bowl of greens at Goodyear House or whatever Sam Hart's going to come up with next at counter, and everyone in between, and that's our style. Like, we all root for each other. We all buy from the same farms. We all root for our farms, and that's who we are. And I think that is more exciting than going to every restaurant and having the same dish.
Yes.
You go down to, I love Charleston.
Fried chicken, right?
Exactly. I love Charleston, but I mean, how many times do you need to eat shrimp and grits in a weekend?
Yeah.
And I think that if you come to Charlotte, there are people doing some really cool stuff with the same ingredients. You can have,
it's almost like a food competition show.
Yeah.
It's like,
you can have
here's the ingredients.
Yeah. You can
make a dish.
Yeah. You can have carrots like 18 different ways and 18 different dishes. And they don't taste the same, but they all came from Barbie, or they all came from Small City, or from wherever. So that's cool to me. That's way more exciting than just a signature dish.
What is the hardest TV show that you've been a part of? Like
Oh,
you've
God.
been, I mean, how many people have those
Yeah.
gems on their
I've
wrists?
done 6 now.
Can you
on Food
rattle them off
Network.
for me?
Yeah, so Chopped, I've done twice because I won the first time and they invited me back. I didn't win the second time. It was not a good showing. And then it wasn't the worst showing. I'll get to that in a minute. Bobby Flay, where I beat Bobby with a chicken and rice stew. So super simple and homey and comforting and delicious. Super Chef Grudge Match, Alex versus America, Guys Grocery Games. So I've done 6 appearances, 5 shows. Guys Grocery Games is the hardest, hands down.
Now you went head to head against Tristan Epps, who won Top Chef last year.
Yeah.
Who also was at Johnson and Wales, Charlotte, and reps Charlotte. Big fan of the city of Charlotte, and he has been on the show, on the pod. And as I'm prepping for this, I hadn't put 2 and 2 together because by the time you were on that show, Top Chef with Tristan didn't happen yet. So now retrospectively, I'm like, oh, you were on Guys Grocery Games, and not only were you on it, you're against now a Top Chef icon.
Yeah. So the Guys Grocery Games was for Food Network champions, and whoever won that got to go on his All-Star Tournament of Champions thing. So Tristan didn't win either. Me and Tristan went against each other head to head, first round. Britt won that show, and she went on to place in the Final 4 in that All-Star Tournament of Champions. And now it's like a huge deal out in Idaho or something. So,
Why
it's
was it
cool.
the hardest?
It's cool. It's the hardest because it is nuts. It is crazy. Like all the other ones, you're in a smaller studio space and they're set up like, you have stoves and ovens and everything, and you have a small pantry to shop from. This is a legitimate grocery store. Like next time you go to the grocery store, I don't care where you shop, Publix, Harris Teeter, Food Line, wherever, something bigger than Aldi. Next time you go to the grocery store, imagine having to run through that entire store and then run to a station and cook something in 20 minutes. Because it's legitimately a grocery store show. And I mean, they built a grocery store out of a giant
like
studio
a supermarket
space.
sweep, but at the end of that,
You have to cook.
you have to cook.
Yeah. And you don't get to explore the aisles prior to the show.
Oh, that's mean.
So they walk you through in 5 minutes, and I hope I don't get in trouble for saying all this. You have 5 minutes to walk through the store with a producer, and they're like, this is where this is, this is where this is, this is where this is. And they tell you, if we point something out, pay attention. It might come up later.
here's the peanut sauce over here.
But it's legitimately 5 minutes to walk through. Here's meat, here's produce, here's whatever. And when they reveal the game and Guy says 3, 2, 1, go, it's legit it does not stop and get your stuff together, like think through everything. It's 3, 2, 1, go. And you've got your shopping cart and you are just, what they didn't show you on the TV, on the show is the first 4 minutes of me just scrambling, trying to find the ingredients that I wanted, and then grabbing the wrong cheese and Guy coming over and being like, Chef, that's vegan cheese. And I was like, oh no. And so I had to run back and grab the right cheese. And then, I go grab some plates that I wanted to use and got back and was like, well, these aren't going to work at all. And then I had to go back and grab more plates. So it was like,
oh no.
Yeah. I mean, 4, 5, 6 minutes into the round, I was like, this is not, I'm done. Like,
And there's no second chance. This is it.
This is it.
Right. This is like, all right, cut. Now let's do this again.
Yeah. No. And I mean, I will say that the producers on that show and Guy himself are the nicest people in the world. They don't want you to fail. And Guy gives a pep talk to everybody beforehand. Like, we want to make you look good. That's why you're here. Like, we want you to succeed. We want to make you look good. We're not going to try to sabotage you. It's just hard. It's just very hard.
I've always wondered this about Top Chef is, are there people who are built for TV competitions that they thrive in those scenarios? And you can also be the best chef in the world, but not be built for TV competitions. Sarah Bradley, who's co-hosting this year, we're doing recaps on Pack Your Knives. She loves food competitions.
Yeah.
Like, she lives for that. Like, she has an amazing restaurant at the Freight House in Paducah, but she's obsessed with be on these food competition shows. So do you get your blood going? Like, has it always been something you wanted to do?
What's like super interesting is, and I like to tell young cooks this, that like chefs, restaurant chefs aren't really artists. Like restaurant chefs are crafts people. You know, you think about like an artist paints a painting once and they're done. They might like have prints, but they've already painted it, right?
Yeah.
A craftsman makes a table or a chair and then has to make that same exact chair 1,000 times to sell it. And that is what a restaurant chef is. You craft something once, but then you have to repeat it 1,000 times over the course of a week or two, however busy you are. And it has to taste the same. It has to look the same every single time. TV and TV competition like allows chefs to be artists in a very competitive way. You have to be able to think quick. You have to be nimble, but you're only creating something once. Like you're never cooking it again. It's just done within the confines of whatever game you're playing. And so that's kind of fun. Like you get to just like make a mess and play and have fun and make something that you feel like is going to represent you best and you know, win the round or win the show. But it's not the same as being a restaurant chef. So yes, restaurant chefs don't always do well in competitions. Competition chefs can sometimes not do well in restaurants.
That's right. Yeah.
But it is fun. It's like a sport that you get to compete in every now and then.
I've argued that Top Chef is a sport. It's an endurance, mentally, physically.
I think it's a marathon. Just in talking with Brittany about her experiences, and she didn't give anything away. Don't want to get her in trouble at all.
Yeah.
But just talking about the time commitment of what, you know.
It's like going to the Olympics, but if the Olympics were for
weeks
months.
and weeks and weeks and weeks,
Yeah.
You know, 8 to 12 weeks or so is the commitment when you try out for Top Chef. So it's
versus like doing a Beat Bobby Flay would be
that's 3 days. It's a day of travel, it's a day of shooting, and then it's a day of travel home. It's 2.5 days, 3 days.
I've talked to people, chefs who've been on Top Chef, who said they tried out or auditioned for 10 years, you know, year after year. Have you tried to get on Top Chef, or is that something you want to do? Because it seems like with your resume, it seems like something you naturally would want to do. Yeah,
that Top Chef is like the great white whale. It's like the one that I haven't done yet. And it's definitely something that's still on my bucket list that I want to do. I have never applied except for this season for Top Chef Carolinas. And one of the casting directors reached out to me, and I think they probably reached out to a few chefs around town in Charlotte, Brittany obviously being one. Like, we want you to apply. Like, they looked at Charlotte. I mean, when it was kind of announced, or not really announced, but when we heard, you know, as chefs that they were going to come to Charlotte, there started to be a small pool of like who's going to get selected. We know there's going to be at least one Charlotte chef who's going to get selected.
This is really testing your friendships at this point, right? You're like, everything's cool. The guild and everything.
Right.
But then once Top Chef comes into town, it's like, all right, well, there's only so many spots.
Right. Yeah. We know they're going to pick one Charlotte chef. Who's it going to be? And the casting director reached out to a few of us. I don't know who all they reached out to. I just know that they reached out to Brittany. Obviously, she's on the show, and they reached out to me asking me to apply. And it's something I really like struggled with. Like, I thought, like, I wanted to do it. But at the same time, I have a 14-year-old and a 10-year-old and 4 businesses. And so the idea, and a wife who I love.
By the way.
Married for 21 years. So the idea of being away, again, and they tell you in the application, it's an 8 to 12 week commitment, depending on how far you go in the show. And I don't play to lose. So I'm like, can I be away for 12 weeks? And during the time of the filming, I would have missed my daughter's birthday, my son's birthday, Halloween, possibly Thanksgiving, if you go on, you know, and the start of school, because it started in August. That's
what a
a
good
lot.
dad. What a good
That's
dad,
a lot. And
yeah.
so I did eventually apply. I think I waited too late because I think they probably had already started the interviewing process. And, I sent in my application probably 3 or 4 weeks after getting that initial call. Let the director know that I had applied. She said, awesome, we'll call you if we have any questions. And I never heard from them again. So I think at that point, they probably had already zeroed in on a couple that they were interviewing and ultimately chose Britt. But
can you talk to me about Britt? Because give a scouting report.
She's awesome. She is super, I have
give
not
the people
worked.
the deets on.
Yeah, so Brittany Cochran, she is the chef at Stagione, and Brittany has been in town here for probably 10 or 12 years. She's not from Charlotte. She came to Charlotte to go to JWU, graduated, got a job, kind of kicked around some kitchens in Charlotte a little bit. I first met Britt when she was Nick Daniels' sous chef at the Wooden Vine, which used to be next to Asbury, where I was the chef in Uptown. And so, we would see each other almost every day because we were neighbors. And Britt was always kind of quiet and strong. And I mean, she's short and she's tough, and you can just tell she's a little tough. So I hadn't really worked that much with her. And when we, I was asked to help kind of gather the group of chefs for this JBF thing. And, we wanted to include her, to really help her celebrate and show off the Top Chef stuff. That's why I really got to hang out with her for the most amount of time in New York earlier this month, at the JBF platform. And I love me some Brittany Cochran. She is so much fun.
Yes.
She's tough. And I'm sure
you gotta be if you're on Top Chef, man.
She's going to be a good competitor. I'm excited to see how the season goes. But she kind of flies under the radar. She's a super talented chef. And she's gotten a few accolades here and there in Charlotte over the last 10 years, but I anticipate Top Chef helping to rise her star even more in Charlotte, and I'm so happy for that because she's awesome.
Hello, listener. It's producer Maze here to talk to you about Quince cookware. If you're like me, you love to get in the kitchen, whip something up for yourself, maybe a nice little grilled cheese sandwich, maybe a little French omelet. And there's nothing that kills the joy of cooking faster than unreliable pans. It's not cooking evenly. You get some sticking. It's a nightmare to clean. Luckily for me, I have a stainless steel 3-quart saute pan from Quince that I use for everything. And it's super easy to use on the stove and then pop right in the oven. But let me tell you a little secret. It's actually affordable because with Quince, you're working directly with the factory, straight to the makers, no middlemen, no retail markup, no packaging costs, no fancy storefronts, no big marketing budgets, just quality cookware. Right now, get free shipping and 365-day returns when you go to quince.com/dings, D-I-N-G-S. That's a full year to cook with it and love it. And you will. Now available in Canada too. Don't keep replacing cookware that frustrates you. Go to quince.com/dings for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dings.
Can you help people understand Charlotte as a food city and what makes it different than, say, Raleigh or Charleston? And as a native Charlottean.
Yeah. Or charlatan,
Charlatan, that's a funny one. People are like, what?
What?
A Charlottean as yourself, what makes Charlotte versus, say, other Carolinas, Greenville, Charleston? Everyone might loop them all together, but what makes it distinct?
Yeah, I some of the stuff we talked about a few minutes ago, I think I would say Charlotte and Greenville are pretty similar. We're both have been historically agrarian. We've got a lot of farming in the Piedmont region of the Carolinas.
Yep.
So we're very much from a food perspective, we're very much farm driven. Whereas you look at Wilmington or Charleston on the coast. They're obviously coastal cities, and Charleston is a hugely important historical city with a food culture all of its own. But we're a city of industry. We're a banking town. When I say that I came up at the same time as Charlotte, it's because Nations Bank was founded, that eventually became Bank of America right after I was born. And now Bank of America is the second or third largest bank in the world, right? So we're a banking town. We have Duke Energy here, which is a huge player in electricity. We've got a lot of other industry here. So people move to Charlotte, and I think they're starting to move to Greenville for work. And then they find out it's a pretty cool place to live. Yeah. Like this, you have 4 seasons here. The weather is great. You've got sports teams. You can vacation again, mountains or coast in a couple of hours either way. So what separates it from other cities? I think the fringe cities, and what I mean by that is way to the west, Asheville, or way to the east, Charleston, Wilmington. We're obviously right here in the middle with farming and stuff.
Is it fair to say that chefs, if you're aspiring to open up your own restaurant or have your own brand or have your own imprint on the food scene in America, I feel like Charlotte is a blank canvas for a lot of chefs in ways that it's tough to break into Philly or to make your mark in Chicago.
Yep.
And as much as I don't want it to seem like we're not grown up here in Charlotte, isn't that an attractive thing for a rising chef around America? As being like, I can open up a restaurant in Charlotte and feel like I can make a name for myself.
We're growing up. We're not grown up. We're growing up. We're coming into our own. And you talk to someone like Callan Buckles, who just opened Rada a year ago and is already on the New York Times 50 best list.
Coming from New York, come to Charlotte. He came down here for family and for a better way to raise their son.
He's made a big splash, and as big as Charlotte is, I think we're the 20th or 21st largest city in America. We're still a small town. I like to tell folks that we are either America's largest town or smallest city.
Yes.
And it's because everyone knows everybody.
And you're 15 minutes away from
everything. 20 minutes away from everybody. It depends on traffic, right? You're 15, 20 minutes away from everything. And because we are a good blank slate's a good way to put it, because we don't have this history behind us of food. You can come in and do kind of whatever you want to do. And if you do it well, we're going to embrace you, and you can make a name for yourself as long as you're, kind and nice, and you pay your respects to people. You're good. Now you come in here and you're a little hot headed, or you think you got a bigger ego than what you can put on a plate. Like we can turn on you pretty quick too. But if you come down and you just like what Callan did. And what a lot of chefs who've transplanted here have done is they came in, they sought to understand first, and then they started to apply what we do here in Charlotte. And what I mean by that is the farms and the seasons and everything to their own cooking style. And it has blossomed.
Can you explain to the audience just why should they care about farm to table? Why, or farm to fork, whatever.
Yeah.
What's in it for?
It's,
that's great for the farmers and stuff, but if I'm going to a restaurant, how is that going to benefit me that Charlotte is a farming culinary capital?
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah, well, first off, you're going to get better tasting food.
Yes.
Because it's fresher, right? Instead of tomatoes being picked in Florida or California during the off season and just trucked across
you
the
as a
country.
chef want locally sourced because it's not just you're helping out people that
well, that's the biggest thing. So for me, I was gonna say as the consumer, you're gonna get better tasting food. Your tomatoes are gonna be left on the vine until they're perfectly ripe and then come 20 miles down the road to me. So you're gonna get better tasting food. For a chef, especially someone like myself who's a little bit political at times. I think food is political, and it is. You vote with your dollars. We are a country that is quickly being taken over by some large mammoth corporations that control seeds and control what farms can grow and how they grow it. And our agrarian way of life or history is disappearing. And the average age of American farmers is in like the 70s now. We're a generation away from losing small family farms. So if we as chefs who have more purchasing power than you do, as an individual, if we all band together and say, we're going to invest in these smaller family farms, then we're going to have smaller family farms 50 years from now, 100 years from now, whatever. And so when I spend my money with the farms that we buy from, I know that I am helping keep history and tradition alive. I also know that I'm helping them put food on the table. I'm helping them put a backpack on their kids' backs. They are then going to turn around and invest that money in their own local economies. So it's keeping our dollars here. It's voting with our money. It's keeping our dollars here instead of, spending them all with the big box trucks, which we do. I mean, we've got to get paper supplies, who are then going to like push that money out to about 18 middlemen before it gets to the farmer in California, the farmer in Florida, wherever. So the money goes farther when you invest
That's
locally.
Right.
You keep the farms alive, keep them growing, and so it's just important. Plus, on top of that, you get to eat way better tasting food. So why wouldn't you want to do that?
That's what I was getting at. Is like for a lot of people, they see farm to table and it becomes a cliche. There's real benefit to doing that as opposed to just an ideal. Right?
It's been co-opted for sure. 20 years ago when farm to table. 30 years ago, it was huge in California, right? So then the rest of the country catches up about 10 years later, and it's 20 years ago, farm to table is the thing. And every restaurant is putting farm to table. I think there was a point in time where Applebee's or Chili's was talking about getting their lettuces locally. And it's, because you're a California-based chain, so you are getting it locally, but the Chili's in North Carolina is not. So it did become a marketing cliche, a marketing term that I think chefs even stopped embracing because it was like, why do I want to be lumped in with the big guys? Yeah. So now, you'll hear someone talking about local sourcing, and local sourcing means more than farm to table or farm to fork, which is just, should be trademarked by somebody probably. There's my political soapbox.
The Goodyear house.
Yeah.
Isn't that also a nod to farming?
It is, yeah. So Goodyear, everyone asks if we're associated with the tire company, which I do have a Goodyear tire hat that I will wear occasionally.
And the whole Michelin thing, it's all very confusing. Like, how would tire companies becoming these big food conglomerates?
No, so my business partner, AJ Klink, who owns the property of the Goodyear house, he had the vision to turn it into a restaurant. And he got an email one day from an investor friend of his who had a story in the email body about a Goodyear house. And these specifically tie back to rural communities, rural homes built in the South and the Midwest, where he's from Michigan, that started as small bungalow homes. And they were like family homes, and it might be 1 or 2 bedrooms. And they were started sometime right around the Depression. And so these people had already scraped together enough money to buy a small house. Then they're hit with a depression, something out of their control that completely affects and changes their lives. And then they're struggling to regain financial independence as the economy is starting to come back after the Depression. But they're really reliant on good years. They're really reliant on sun and soil and rain to bring the crops in so that they can sell them and they can have a good year. And so if you drive through the South and the Midwest, you can see evidence of people that had good years because they started as small homes and they would add on a home, add on a room here, add on a room there, and eventually would grow into a 3 or 4 bedroom house where the floors are different, the roof lines are different, and you can see these around Charlotte. And so he loved that idea as a metaphor for the NODA community and for Charlotte as a whole, that we are reliant on things outside of our control sometimes. But when we have a good year, it is smart to invest in ourselves, in our home. And so that Charlotte has had some good years. Charlotte has had some bad years. But when we have good years, let's celebrate. Let's open the doors. Let's have a party. Let's have our friends over in the backyard. And that's kind of what Goodyear House is.
Yeah, your restaurant group, your hospitality group built on hospitality feels like the word built, Goodyear feels like growth, right?
Yep.
Charlotte does seem like a growth opportunity for like I am, and Brittany and Callan were all examples of people who came after you. You built this, you and the other chefs and the people of Charlotte, native to Charlotte. We are very attracted to Charlotte to come and visit for a couple of years and see if it sticks. And then it sticks. And you're like, oh my God, I'm raising my kids here.
How did that
my
happen?
daughters are 9 and 6 and they were born here in Charlotte. And I made the decision, we're leaving Miami in 2010 or 2016. It was not politically a great climate to be in Miami in 2016 with the Zika virus and everything. And we wanted we call ourselves the Zika refugees, where we just had to find a place to like raise our kids. And Charlotte checked off a lot of boxes and we didn't know what to expect, right? I went to college down the road an hour away and like a lot of people were in Charlotte and having great lives. And we were like, hey, let's go check this out. And then 10 years later, here we are. So we're building on these good years that we're having. And it just feels like a real growth city. And when you go on these shows and you watch Top Chef, it feels like it's all still cresting in ways that is exciting.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, that's, we all, Charlotteans and new Charlotteans, I think we all want the city to show off well any chance they can get, right? Because that just is going to mean more growth and better times ahead. I think that Charlotte isn't done. Again, it's growing up. It's not grown up yet, but we're getting there.
Yeah. So that JBF event was really cool for you. I mean,
awesome.
In
so
New York
much
City.
Fun. Yeah. So I've been invited to cook at the house twice. This is the first time I've been invited to cook at Platform. I gotta say, no offense to the hallowed James Beard house, the Platform puts it to shame. Like the kitchen there is stunning.
What makes a stunning kitchen? You've been in some kitchens before.
The space, and I mean the house is cool. It's old, obviously. It was a residence. It was James Beard's actual house. He lived there, and they turned it into a commercial kitchen after he passed away, and the foundation was founded. But trying to wedge a commercial kitchen into an old house, listen, I've done it at Goodyear House. It can be challenging. And this is a brand new state-of-the-art space built in the middle of Pier 52 food hall there. It's a little jewel box, like it's beautiful. It's stainless everywhere, the glass, where people in the market can kind of see into the kitchen. So it was a cool space to kind of work in for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Sure.
You've done it all, man. So I appreciate you stopping by and taping this as kind of like the gateway into Charlotte. And we're heading into Top Chef. And thanks for introducing people and helping introduce people to Charlotte. I feel like
of course.
People listening to this, you got to come to Charlotte. You got to come down, and it's an awesome place to visit, and it's an awesome place to live. And I think the Four Seasons, like not literally the capital F, Four Seasons, but it does, in a culinary sense, it does produce some really exciting plates, it's one thing that I always struggle with sometimes with the seasonal menus is just, I have this amazing fish dish or amazing cabbage dish. And then 2 months later, it's a different dish, but that's part of the game.
That's part, and I mean, as a chef, that's exciting, right? And yes, I use tomatoes as an example earlier. I can get tomatoes year round, but there is nothing like a peak mid-June to end of September tomato. Like it is, I think, God's greatest gift ever to earth. I love a summer tomato, and there's a bit of there's anticipation all through spring, and then we get here and it's the tomato. I mean, you come to Goodyear House or one of our restaurants in the summertime, you're going to have 4 different tomato dishes on the menu. And there's sadness, at the end of September, kind of mid-October, when we can't get tomatoes anymore because it's just gotten too cold. There's sadness that it goes away. But then you get to thinking, you're like, well, we're only 5 months away from tomato season. Right. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Packing up your Christmas lights.
Yeah,
it's
and you do that for every single ingredient that you love. And it becomes, it's food the way it's meant to be. It's something that should be
it's a life cycle, right?
Revered and something that should be respected and celebrated when it's in season. There's a reason why asparagus is only on my menu for about 5 weeks, because that's about the only time we can get it here in Charlotte. It's just, and sorry, this is becoming the farming podcast, but
that is Charlotte, right?
Yeah, but that is Charlotte.
That is what you want to get the message about, is that if you come to Charlotte and you eat the food, it's gonna be locally sourced, and you're gonna taste the time and place.
Time and place. That's the best way to kind of sum it all up, is time and place. And and that's represented on, again, almost every menu in town. And it's just exciting. It's fun.
Well, if you and your family are okay with it, I'm going to personally vouch for Chris Coleman to be on Top Chef in the future. So we're going to make you to get that white whale one of these days. But I think for all the listeners and watching this show, they probably recognize you and now we're like, wait, that's the same guy.
That's the guy.
That's the guy that beat Bobby Flay.
Yeah.
And so, if you get a chance, make sure you catch Chris Coleman on those shows, and also come down to Charlotte and go check out your restaurants. If you want to give a last shout out to the restaurants or the...
Sure, yeah. So Built on Hospitality is the name of the group. You can follow us on Instagram or go to our site. But we have the Goodyear House, Old Town Kitchen and Cocktails in Rock Hill, South Carolina, Folia, which is like a coffee and cocktails cafe in South End, and then right next to Goodyear we have Chiefs, which started as a cocktail bar. It's so cozy. We added coffee there as well, and it's great. And we got some exciting stuff planned for later this year too. So
I'm going to NODA tomorrow, and I can't wait. There is a restaurant called Haberdish, and as a PSA. I don't have any involvement. Tom Haberstroh is not part of Haberdish. And I get that question a lot. So before you ask, no, I don't, but it's awesome food there too. So NODA, North Davidson Street, the NODA end of town has some of my favorite spots, including Goodyear House and Chiefs. So
appreciate it.
Chris Coleman, thanks so much for stopping by, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah,
appreciate
awesome.
it.
Thanks.